Hi, everyone. Thank you. First of all, thank you very much for being here and joining us in this full day. As Ana was saying, I'm Montserrat Herrera. I'm Head of Marketing and Comms for Mastercard. And before introducing our great three panelists, I would like to say that in a personal sense, as a marketeer and in a customer-centric world where all the companies and the players keep growing, keep looking for developing new solutions, getting closer to customers, and always with the focus of improving the customer experience. Financial activities were always a challenge in this situation. So there is where embedded finance and banking as a service plays a huge role. It has evolved a lot, and it keeps addressing the main pain point, which is user experience. The customers no longer have to go through a interrupted journey when they are purchasing or when they are in their brands that they trust, and this is because of embedded finance. So today we're going to speak about the way that embedded finance are powering the payments ecosystem. So for that, I have here Pierre-Louis Capitan, from Head of EU Expansion at Tresor, Miguel Magaz, Head of Open Banking and Acquiring at Minsight, and Lee Britton, Director at Money Services Lab. So thank you all for being here. To break the ice, I would like to start with a very easy or not question, which is the difference between embedded finance and banking as a service. So I don't know who wants to start.
Well, I'll start then. Thank you. Hola a todos. Bueno, banking as a service, I think, started about 10 years ago in France, where Tresor is from. And it's really giving the possibility via API to build your own banking product. And that's when we saw the rise of a lot of different neobanks. Tresor is happy to count a few in our portfolio in 5 countries. So yeah, that's it. And then embedded finance, which has just only started, in my opinion, and has a lot of things to do, is really integrating financial products into the life of a customer in a vertical which is not focused on payments and financial services overall.
All right, then I'll go. I think it is quite interesting because anyone understands different things from the same words. And thus, I think both of them are such buzzwords, right? Everyone talk about them. My understanding, at least from the banking as a service, would be the way financial entities amplify their products so they can be offered just in time, on demand, regardless the platform or the platform or the channel they are being requested from. On the other hand, the embedded finance goes a little bit further. Is the way these products are being distributed by third parties, which can be either other financial entities, but also non-financial entities. And I think here is where the game starts, basically.
I think the guys are right. So from my perspective, having sold companies 10 years ago, we would position ourselves as BaaS, as banking as a service. And today, if we were raising money, I'd position our company as embedded finance, because those are the big kind of areas to be able to either sell your company or to raise cash on. So I kind of think it's a marketing term. The guys are right. One's back end, which is BaaS, and it's not just banks. Payment companies also provide access to the banking rails. So it is more like a PaaS thing, particularly in the UK. Non-banks can be clearers, which is madness, but it's brilliant. And embedded finance is more front end, as the guy said. Both are heavily API driven, but honestly, from the perspective of kind of either an investor or a seller, embedded finance is very, very hot right now.
Great. Thank you very much. I think there is still a little crossover between the definitions, as you were saying, Miguel. Each has different opinions. So this takes me to the main question here, which is our main topic about focusing on embedded finance. So you were mentioning this is changing between banking as a service and embedded finance in the last year. So how do you keep up with the changes? Because it's like every day is changing. So how do you keep up with the changes, the technology, the solutions, to always focus, because I think that's the main focus, deliver a better customer experience at the end? So you want to start, Lee?
I'll go really quickly. So I guess it's about reducing friction. Everything's about trying to speed up transactions to make it easier. non-banks. If you're looking at embedded finance, it gives you the opportunity to move into that area to put ancillary products next to your core product. And you're just widening your offering. As the tech providers, we would all say to Jesus, it's really hard to keep up. And that's the bit that's really difficult, and that's where you consume your tech R&D.
I think embedded finance is nothing new.
Yeah.
I'd like to start there, as we have seen for many years. For example, retailers offering consumer loans to get their customers buy more at their stores. However, you said something which I think is important, is the technology. And to that end, I think it's very important to have the technology on the cut edge, that is, to get it updated. Because in the end of the day, the less friction you generate by offering the financial products, the easier it will be for those entities to distribute them, right? But also on the regulatory side, I think it's also interesting how more and more the regulations support third distributors to offer these kind of products by their own. And I think that is key also how the regulation changed along the time.
Agree.
Yeah, well, couldn't agree more. I think those are two very challenging things. The tech, because we're first and foremost tech providers, but also the regulation. I think we all have different stories. There's a lot of different licenses that we have as well, even though at the European level, they tend to be the same ones. If you're not able to support a peak in transactions, for instance, then you die, right? It did happen to a few big players not long ago, even in France. That's the trust is there. The payment needs to go through. And so that's what you said, right? It's nothing new, but it's all digitized. And so your tech infrastructure must be cutting edge. I think, and we all take with our CTOs the steps to build this. And then the second part that you mentioned, the regulation. I guess you've seen that a few players have lost their licenses in the past months, in the past years. Maybe you know that on the market, different players have different approaches, even if at the end of the day, you cannot provide the same service. So I think there's still a lot to be challenged, to be discussed between the players of the ecosystem. And that's where I believe we can make a difference as well. Regulation needs to be an ally, and we need to be close to the regulators, each one in each country.
I think this is really interesting because you were mentioning frictionless. The key is frictionless, but also you need to have the regulators alive, and then you always have to keep up with the technology. So there are three things that keep evolving constantly. So it takes me to the last question, which is what is coming for embedded finance? How do you foresee and where do you foresee that embedded finance will evolve in terms of regulation, technology, competitors, because also third parties, you were mentioning the third parties. There are more and more third parties providers. So how do you foresee this for the upcoming future?
Start?
Miguel.
All right. First, I think it's clear the opportunity to growth the market has. However, to experience that growth, I still think we have to face some challenges. One would be how to ensure profitability through a fair balance between the added value embedded finance brings with against the extra cost it implies as more players and parties are involved along the value chain. That will be a huge challenge. Another one probably linked to the regulation would be, and since financial services are strictly regulated, how financial services can maintain an end-to-end control on the products they provide and that are being marketed by third-party channels. And last but not less important, I'd say that we still have to do a lot of work in regards to evangelize, I'd say. I don't know if that is correct. That's showing the companies, enterprises, and business units the real possibilities embedded finance offers So they really understand it, and once they do, they will start creating new use cases, which in the end of the day is what sets the market growth.
Interesting.
I would maybe I would sum this up with one word, which is partnerships. I believe that if all the strategy consulting firms say that within whatever 2030, embedded finance will be about $100 billion. Well, we need to make those dollars, right? And to get there, I believe we need to work with partners. So that's true in terms of tech. If you take players that come from the BaaS industry, where it's only an API, initially you don't have an interface that the end user can use. So you need to build either your own or to build partnerships to get there. In terms of distribution, where I see embedded finance would be any company, any retailer being able to distribute financial products, and not because they want to, but because they can do it better than the financial institutions. I think this is key. If we find partners that know their customers better than the financial institutions, then those guys should be able to distribute the products. But for this, you do need to build strong partnerships. You can't do it with anybody, and I believe, and that's also the partnership with the regulators, that we need to find a way to properly regulate how those intermediaries act and what requirements they have, right? I think that's key.
I think you guys are entirely accurate. So I've been part of the regulated entity and been through the good sides and bad sides of regulation and how it changes and how you can fall foul of it. As tech companies, you know, we can build lots of funky things and all the stuff that goes on in there, but you're always conscious of the regulatory license that's at risk. And we all want innovation and we all want the bits that come there. And then you have to keep reminding yourself that there's a really important bit, which is over here with the regulator, and that can queue up. That's the ultimate nightmare scenario. But I kind of think that most innovation is customer driven. So in the partner side. So as tech companies, we would build great bits and pieces, but actually the bits that take you to the next level, they're almost always driven by use cases that you hadn't thought of when you started drawing the tech diagrams and you put everything together. The telcos, for once, for 20 odd years, I thought the telcos would move massively into the payment space and have been wrong for 20 odd years. I think this time embedded finance gives them the capability to be able to make an entrance.
Yeah, so thank you. It was short, but I think it was very, very deep. As a summary, I would say that there's a lot to come, and in the future, which is tomorrow already. So just keep us updated and keep up doing a great job. Thank you very much.